Well, we've done it, folks. We have made it through 500 individual chapters of the One Piece manga, and boy, I tell you, I just got a big old shit-eating grin on my face.
What? Oh, yes, that's me. One Piece Chapter 500, The Embers of History.
Oh, yeah, 500 chapters, huh? I tell you, and a review for each one. I tell you, either that's really good or really bad. I don't really know. I haven't really been able to stop and weigh in on that one yet, so we'll just continue on and see what happens. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review, the 500th, on this wonderful and amazing and just wonderfully racist-filled tale that is One Piece. Now, the events of the last chapter were pretty much kind of split between a couple of different groups over here, but really the end result was that Cammy had been captured by some of these human traffickers that seemed to go and really like and have an affiliation for mermaids, and then and of course the crew wound up calling in at the end. Sanji was like, I'm gonna call in Duval or Handsome, whatever you want to call them, and the Flying Fish Riders, because they're obviously experts in kidnapping, so hopefully experts in finding kidnappers as well. Anyway, that's how the chapter left off, and the chapter actually picks up right there. It's kind of funny. The first page is a big picture of, it's me, Handsome, and Handsome's hilarious. He reminds me of Mansum from Toriko. Anytime somebody says something, he's always like, oh, what, did you call me handsome? And he's got that, and now everybody, they're not the Flying Fish Riders anymore, they're the Rosy Cheek Riders and all this other, the Rosy Life Riders, I think. And so it is kind of funny and just very comical the way they kind of brought this character back into it. So nonetheless, though, Sanji goes riding off with him. The rest of the Flying Fish Riders go off, and they're going to go and find the rest of the Straw Hats and obviously pick them up and start kind of looking around. They know all the hot spots. They know all the places. This chapter, though, for the 500th chapter, for the most part, with the exception of the end, where we finally get to, actually get to kind of see and get the official word bubble thing for Silver's Rayleigh and who he was and everything else, the rest of the chapter was fairly lackluster in the sense that not a whole lot happened. We do wind up finding out through the course of the chapter that a couple hundred years ago, the reason that mermaids and of course fishermen are still kind of trafficked here and hunted and persecuted, I guess you would say, and that's where my comment about racism came in at the beginning, because technically this is supposed to be like a different race in One Piece. They're persecuted, though, and still sought after because a couple hundred years ago, fishmen and mermaids were classified as fish, and as such probably didn't have any of the same rights that a human being would have, because you looked at it as fish, just like we look at, animals. They don't have the same rights that we do, and we raise them and feed them and then slaughter them for food. So, in very much in the same type of context, if they were classified as fish, they were treated as such, and obviously that's why there's that gap there. And for some reason or another in the archipelago, that shit still flies, and it's still okay. You know what I mean? It's kind of like racism is still alive very much in the southern areas of the country over here, or at least that's what you hear on TV and in the different types of social media and things like that. So I don't know, because I live in the Midwest, but whatever the case may be. So the bottom line is that's really what this chapter entails. It entails kind of hearing that from a few different perspectives. Robin knows some of that background on things. Papagu explains some of that to Luffy. Luffy goes around, he's just tearing shit up, man. He's going to there, he's going here and there, and looking in these different, human trafficking auction houses, and going and just tearing shit up in this one, and Hachi's like explaining to him, no, dude, don't tear things up. We want to make sure that we actually find somebody. We actually want to make sure that we actually find her. They have no idea where she is, though. At any rate, it winds up going to Grove 1 for the end, for the last few pages of the chapter, and in those few pages we wind up seeing that there is this auction house that's there, and those two celestial dragons that know that third one, that Charlos, who was riding on the human, they wind up arriving. I forget their names. They're not very significant to me in my mind, but the first two wind up showing up there. The first two that we encountered 4 or 5 chapters back, they wind up showing up there, and the auction house leader does his bowing and everything, and then getting down on his hands and knees, and then says, can we dispense with those the formalities and whatnot that follow the celestial dragons while the auction's going on? And he says, that's fine with me, otherwise the auction would never get done, because obviously people having to go and bow and reverence and everything else, it's a bunch of bullshit. So then we wind up going and we actually see back in the kind of the back behind the stage over there, we see that, you know, behind the scenes, we see that Cammy, of course, is captured. She's feisty, you know, she's kind of fighting back, and then they wind up, she says something, talks back, and they slap the shit out of her. And then you can see how much scum these people are, you know, that do this, because they're like, oh no, if you're going to do something and she's not obeying you, just kick her in the stomach or some other place that won't show bruises, you know, because otherwise her value will drop on the auction, on the market. And I'm just thinking, what a bunch of sick, twisted fuckers, you know? Anyways, it really makes you have a hatred for these celestial dragons, and then, of course, obviously, these bounty hunters, these human traffickers, you know, very, very sick stuff. So anyway, as that winds up happening, and somebody goes to nail her again, or for talking back, all of a sudden, dude just like just passes out, you know. And then I think it was the Peterson was the one that brought them, and the so-and-so whatever brothers or whatever. And then they talked about how the flying fish riders don't have anything there today, you know, and that's obviously out of the norm for them because they're these bounty hunters, these people that track and capture people and whatnot too. It seems that's a very big thing to do in the archipelago here. I don't know. So that's what people do. They do that, they drink, and they go to the amusement park. Anyways, it was kind of cool because you don't know why this dude got knocked out, right? And then all of a sudden you get one of the other guys and he's like, hey, old man, that was you, wasn't it? It was that Hockey. Now, Hockey, of course, we only have seen up to this point. You know, we've obviously saw red-haired Shanks use it to some of the crew as you got on board Whitebeard's ship. Excuse me, I can't even talk. And we actually saw like boards bending and stuff like that. So whatever that is, this is like this. I compare it to almost like with Star Wars, like the Force. You're able to go and for some people it's just overwhelming if they don't have that use of that or whatever. Nonetheless, and I think that may have been how Luffy knocked out Duval's bull as well, but maybe unwillingly, like he doesn't know that he has that power in him yet, you know? I don't know. Anyway, so that's what they deduce and this and that. And then he goes and he says, and who are you and blah, blah, and he's like, oh, I'm just an old man that coaches ships and likes young ladies. And I'm thinking, okay, well, is that like a weird pedophile type thing? Either way, though, we wind up getting to see the face of this guy. You actually get to see him in person. He's kind of this cool older Gandalf-looking dude almost, I guess, right? And it says Silvers Rayleigh, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right now. They're correct now. The Pirate King's right arm, former Roger Pirate's first mate. So that's why this dude is the real deal. Because this guy was the first mate to the King of the Pirates. So, man, that was the cool part. Other than that, though, I got to be honest with you. The chapter for a 500th, for kind of a milestone chapter, was pretty lackluster. Especially, I mean, halfway to 1,000 and everything else. You think Oda would have cooked up something a little bit. I know he's got to follow with the story that he's got, and that's just how things probably worked out and landed. The reveal at the end was nice to go and see, you know, to see Silver's Rayleigh. And then for me, the biggest thing was to know that he was the first mate of Goldie Rogers' crew. So this guy is obviously on some next level shit because we've only heard about Goldie Roger. We've never actually been able to see him in action, and to know that this guy was his first mate, his right-hand man, his Zorro, if you will. And actually that'll probably start some arguments too, because I know a lot of people think of Sanji as him. But to tell you the truth, I think Zorro probably fits the bill of the first mate a little bit better, you know, just in my opinion, than Sanji does. And of course, that's my opinion now through 500 chapters. So, my chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, other than the reveal of obviously you know, Silvers Rayleigh being the first mate, what are your thoughts on obviously this journey? Those of you that have followed along for how many ever chapters, but what I would like you to comment put in the comments down below is if you remember approximately when you came on, when you found the channel, if you're a person who just, you know, casually watches a couple of the chapters that you think are high points in the series, or if you're a dedicated viewer that watches each and every one and breaks apart and breaks down everything that I do, if you're one of the people that are kind enough to go and comment and correct me on pronunciations and things that I maybe misunderstood, just kind of let me know, you know, when you came on board and how you've enjoyed the journey thus far, because I know that for me it's been really, really magical and just very cool. So leave your answer to that question, long and convoluted as it was, in the comments down below, and feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Fuck the haters. We made it 500 chapters, bitches!